music episode.
With music.
Sound,
yeah,
music.
I've gone more kind of the sound route than music, but there is some music in mine.
We're here with Helmet from music generally.
Yeah,
That's what you're from.
I'm from music. It's a little place just outside sound.
So Sprinter are musician.
Yes.
They provided
Would you have just heard it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, just right there at the start.
I mean, obviously we played it live.
Obviously, yeah. It's
Yes.
Normally you're just in the kitchen, like, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, we point at you and you, okay, go.
He's just detangling all the chords and like all the guitars and everything now.
I think I did that a good performance this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Solid.
It sounded exactly like the studio one, but it was live.
It's a rare talent to be able to do that. So many bands, you go see them live, they just sound like a shambles. And
And obviously Guardians of the Galaxy did a great job as well.
Yeah, they did.
again, sticking in around the 70s and 80s there, yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird because I often find out what songs are in. I don't see movies in the cinema automatically straight away, but I'll always know what songs are in them from when I'm DJing and someone goes, "Can you play Fleetwood Mac to Chain?" And I go, "Oh, that's a weird request, okay." And then 2 minutes later, some like 17-year-old will go, "Can you play Fleetwood Mac to Chain?" I'm like, well, okay, what film was it in? Because there's no way that's just a coincidence that it's so.
That's somebody who like suddenly is like, oh yeah.
But I also hate that because it was like, now it's a cool thing. I'm so hipster about it.
I think you were there the day I snapped at people when me and Ham used to DJ together, and I snapped when for about 3 years straight we'd been playing the first System of a Down album.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the second System of a Down album came out. And people come up and go, "Oh, can you play System of a Down?" Normally you used to play System of a Down and get 3 or 4 people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And then like we played one off the new album and there's like 80 people. And I'm in the bottom half out of the DJ box going like, "Where the fuck were you like last week?"
Definitely.
But yeah, you can kind of see that in film as well, where suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, I love that track." It's like 2 weeks ago you didn't know what that track was.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds incredibly hipster. It's like,
But it's not that.
It's not just hipster. You also sound quite curmudgeonly. As well.
well, you know, I am an old git, like, so yeah.
But it's how they ask me that gets me. They'll be like, "Can you play CM Punk's team?" I'm like, come on, say the name of the song.
Yeah.
Because that was a song before CM Punk
Yeah, yeah.
existed.
Yes, yeah.
It always
yeah.
existed. He was definitely born. God, I love the soundtrack for The Crow.
For the crowd.
I just love it. I just love every bit of it. I just love it.
Amazing.
I know it's
that's just really good one. Like,
but like it has Helmet on it.
it has The Cure.
Yeah, it has one of the best Cure songs.
It has a great 9 Inch Nails song.
It's just the Joy Division cover. I just think it's solid the entire way through, and it reminds me sort of Judgment Night, except there was no collaborations. In a weird way, it
went
was
from
solid.
The Crow to Judgment. Like.
Yeah, no, it just had that because the Helmet ran that as well. Maybe.
Yeah.
But Helmet's the band, not me.
Yeah.
And he refers to himself in the third person.
Yeah.
He's wearing a picture just saying, "I am the Helmet."
There was a very confusing picture recently when it was Helmet with your man from Helmet.
And his sweat patch on his t-shirt was in the shape of the crow.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So it was
Spooky.
very weird. Maybe that's on purpose. It's an artistic thing. He chooses to sweat.
He just
Like
had,
that,
yeah,
like, yeah.
He's hair all over his body except for that bit, so the sweat comes through. That Tim Capello stopped the show. Obviously, we're talking about songs.
Oh, obviously, but like that was the only thing the Crow was missing was like, you know,
saxophone.
topless oiled sax man. Like,
Yes.
you know, giving it some, it's like he's playing the guitar on one roof and he just looks over and Tim Capello's in the other one and just joins in. Like,
Oh wow!
Man, if we're linking the stuff after this, let's just link to the 10 hours of oil saxophone.
how hard do you reckon it'd be to Photoshop him into the Crow? No, anyway.
Probably easier to just hire him. Actually,
Because
that was me. That was a mean comment. You could probably get him for a photo.
Yeah.
Still at Tim Capello. He's definitely still.
Brilliant. That kind of thing of nostalgic stuff. I was going to mention Donnie Darko.
That's brilliant as well.
It is a very good one, and it was the first one where I saw it, and they'd gone back to all that music, and I was looking at it going, that's somebody's love letter. Like, that's not that there was a good music supervisor and they like picked it out. That I felt like the movie and the music kind of went hand in hand. But the little girl in that is in the sequel. It's called S. Darko.
Yeah.
And it's just her. And I was like watching it going, why is this movie? But why?
Yeah.
What
Why is it?
Why is this movie?
Actually, speaking of Donnie Darko, the use of the tear spheres at the end of that, not Gary Jules. Don't give him credit. Okay, yeah, he did a good version, but it's not his song. But it was like when it started, I was
It
like,
wasn't Michael Stipe.
It almost sounded like them. But the voice wasn't wavering enough.
Yeah.
But when it started, I was like, because I remember watching the film, and all the way through that film, the first time seeing it, I was just like mind blown. I was like, this is just insane. Like, and then it gets to that bit, and the piano kicks in. I'm like, okay, right. And normally it doesn't grab me that much, but then when he started singing, I was like, that's Tears for Fears.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a really good cover. And it actually pulled me out of the film because I was so struck by how good a cover was. It was my first time hearing it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't paying attention to what was happening and everyone looking wistfully and crying. And I'm like, holy shit, like, because like growing up, 3 older sisters and older brother, all like 10 to 15 years older than me.
Yeah.
I was very much exposed to like the pop music of the early 80s.
Same as me,
So like I recognised it nearly straight away. I was like, holy shit, that's Tears for Fears. And I couldn't put the name of the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it's in the chorus. I was just still like, I just knew from the opening line and stuff, I was like, that's just weird. Like, and then I had though it's not related to film, but I had the opposite experience when the first time I heard Heartbeats, but the knife version of Heartbeats. After your man Jose Iglesias had done it.
Right.
Like for that Sony Rav, where he does an acoustic. So I knew that version. And then I hear the other version, I'm like, oh my god, what have they done to the song? Wait, what do you mean it's the original? It just didn't, I don't know, it didn't grab me like. But then it grew on me. But yeah, I think that it's the danger, and there was that trailer thing. It can work in a trailer, but when it happened in the film Donnie Darko, I just kind of got pulled out of it. I was like, holy shit.
That happened to me with Shoot 'Em Up when Nirvana's Breed came on during the fight scene. I was like, I can't enjoy all of this at the same time. Too much. I'll have to rewatch this scene and go, right, I'm having the Nirvana while I'm watching Shoot 'Em Up, and then later I'll have it watching Shoot 'Em Up while I'm listening to Nirvana.
Yeah.
It's just too much in my head going on at the same time.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Almost happened in Baby Driver when Focus Hocus Pocus came on. But he was running around. I was like, no, get back in your car. You're not called Baby Runner.
Yeah,
I don't like this bit.
Baby Walker.
He wasn't running fast enough to keep up with the song.
That's brilliant. That's a great.
That's really all I could think about when I was watching. Like Brighton Rock, I see I'm not a huge Queen fan. Although I know they're brilliant. That's a weird thing we had in the podcasting. I can tell when a band is brilliant, but I don't like them. It's very mature of me.
Humble too.
Well done, you. Thomas patting his own back right now.
It's the one thing I'll say. Well, at least you got that going for me.
Yeah, but that's one thing that people used to always kind of look at me funny when I go like, I don't like Black Sabbath, and they're like, but you're into metal. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, but how do you not like Black Sabbath? It's like, no. I appreciate what they've done, but music has evolved from them. They're like they're the progenitor, but they're not the reason. They're not the be all and end all.
What do you mean you don't like penny farthings? You like Ferraris, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've seen you wind up a Ducati. How do you not like them? It's like, I'm sorry. I just don't like unicycles. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And you love this. Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, what's your film? What's your?
I'll immediately qualify this by saying I do very little work for this podcast.
Okay.
I do so little work.
You host it. It's always recorded in Johnny's apartment, if anyone's wondering.
I just took the sex swing away and just make it slightly.
Just hung a corpse instead to make it less weird.
All those eyelets in the ceiling. Yeah. But I actually did some work this time, and yesterday sitting at work I listened to the entire Batman Forever soundtrack.
Well.
Because I didn't know this, because first of all, it was Joel Schumacher, and he told the composer, I don't want it to sound like Danny Elfman. Don't do anything Danny Elfman.
Good.
So
I knew you were going to say that.
Fucking good.
And then the music supervisor came along and put together this soundtrack, and it was U2, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
It was a great track.
Seal, Kiss from a Rose.
Banger.
Which is amazing. Best song ever.
Yeah.
Greatest song ever made. And then I had the Flaming Lips and Brandy and Method Man and Nick Cave and PJ Harvey and Massive Attack and In Excess. And it was
a great choice.
Like they just wanted to bring pop back to film, and they did all these songs. A lot of people gave songs to the soundtrack, and I was like, that's crazy. And you know what? It's been so long since I've seen that movie that I don't remember half of these because they're not in the movie.
Yeah.
No, like there's 4 of those songs that are in the movie. My actual choice was Spinal Tap. I was genuinely trying to think of like a really, really good soundtrack, and
that's brilliant.
I wanted one that had original music for it, which is why Batman Forever, as impressive as it is, I did want one with original music. And there's a quote from Justin Timberlake when he was making Inside Llewyn Davis. There's a bit about halfway through that where he has to do kind of a jokey song, and it's the point where the Llewyn Davis character, this folk singer, is finally selling out. Like he's whoring himself out as a session musician to this really poppy, kind of politically active and kind of like like a really middle of the road sort of thing. And they were saying that it was the hardest thing in the world to write a song that had to be good and shit. Like it had to be shit that you could listen to it and go, oh, this is him selling out. Like this is the shitty shit he has to do. But it couldn't be a bad song, because who the fuck wants to listen to a bad song? Yeah. So they listened to so much kind of crappy political folk music from the day and pop music and tried to make this. And every song in Spinal Tap is that. They've gone, like, they were like, we'll make satire that's a good example of the form. And they made ridiculously good songs. And just the line, "Tonight I'm gonna rock you tonight," is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Just the redundancy.
It's the piano bit in that film as well, where he's there and he's playing, and it's like, it's very, it's D minor, it's very somber, mellow tune, and it's very somber key, and it's like, it's beautiful, man, it's beautiful. What's it called? I Lick My Love Pump. Like, yeah, it's fantastic. Like.
But even the little history of all their songs, and there's the one where they're the Beatlesy kind of band. It's like, you know what I want, ding 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 ding. Oh, maybe you don't, ding ding. And it's such shitty.
They nailed it.
Shitty songwriting.
That's the thing. It's actually like it's probably why it's so impressive. It's hard to be actively that bad while it's still being listenable. You know, there's plenty of bands that try to be good and end up bad, but you can't listen to them. Like, oh God, it's terrible. Like.
It's absolute quality satire of every genre that they went for.
Yeah.
And even the idea of all metal bands have come from stuff like that.
Yes.
Whether it be some sort of punk band or some sort of folk band, if you go back far enough.
When you hire someone to do the sound effects editing for a film, they bring their back catalogue. You're hiring their catalogue. You're not just hiring them. Because on average, 60 to 70% of the Foley and sound effects in a film is from their work on previous films. And the whole idea is that they start with these like libraries of kind of generic libraries, and then they replace as they go along. So over the course of their career, their sound quality gets better. For Saving Private Ryan, your man, they hired him and he went cool, and he threw out his entire back catalogue for it. And the same thing for Backdraft. Backdraft was the first time he'd done it, and that's why
he set fire to his back catalogue.
Oh, maybe. The old tapes burned pretty well, yeah.
That's how he got the job. He just walked in and set fire to it, goes, I'm your man.
He started recording that. It's like, I'm not going to waste it.
But like, all the stuff that he...
That's the kind of guy, waste nothing, burn everything. What? You're hired. You're mental.
You're so hired. You might already be hired. I don't know.
But all the sound effects that he made for Backdraft were used in stuff like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, man.
Like, that's how much his sound catalogue was then reused. Amazing piece of sound design. We studied it in college, and it was just one of those things that it's always kind of stuck with me of the amount of detail they went to. Like, there was famously the whole thing of they shot it down in Corktown or wherever the fuck it was in Wexford, those bits on the beach, and they actually set up big sides of beef hanging from swings, and they shot them.
Oh yeah.
So they could record the noise, but they had the shots of they had mics set up along the way, so they could the whiz of it going by, it hitting the meat.
Protests about that now. There would be.
Of course there would be, but the protesters could fuck off and find something better to do with themselves. But
they're already dead.
Yeah, it's like
back in the day, just be kids fucking picking their nose and staring at it, there's a bit of crack.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, so some person who's booked a fucking budget travel package deal to Corktown gets down there, booking in Spain, the whole thing's closed while they're shooting. So, oh shite.
But here, isn't it?
What the cow do? Yeah,
because the DVD version of Snatch, if you go onto the main menu and you press up on your remote control, there's nothing that's meant to be up, but it pops up a hidden option for pikey subtitles.
Amazing.
So just for Brad Pitt and his friends.
Like dogs.
Yeah, and it's
I thought he did a great job.
He did. He nailed it. He nailed it.
Just very posh like that. Periwinkle blue.
Yeah, and it was just. It was something that we found. I used to work in a video store years ago, and we had it on, and it was on the menu, and we were like dicking around, and we were like, oh holy shit, and we were just like pikey subtitles. They're like, oh no way, and we put it on.
In my mind, it does pikey subtitles for the whole movie. everybody gets pikey versions of what they're talking about. I assume it's just subtitles for the pikey.
Yeah, no, it's just for him. Just for him and his mates.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. That'll be great.
When I first started downloading movies illegally on Kazaa or whatever the fuck I was using, I used to always get the text file with it for subtitles.
Yeah.
It's not all you got.
Yeah. A very sick looking computer. Whatever the version of syphilis is for laptops. But I used to always get that text file, and we were downloading, it was some Tartan Asian Extreme movie. It was
Itchy the Killer.
something like that. In fact, I know what it was called. It was called Three Extremes.
Oh.
And it was, the text file came with it. And I opened it up, and I could see all the text, and I was like, oh, it's just, like, it's literally a Word file. This is fine. So I knew my friend Rick was coming over, and I knew he was a huge fan of these movies. So I just, about 10 minutes in, started editing the text. And it was talking about dumplings, and I think the implication was that these were human fetuses that people were eating, and like it was a whole morality tale or something to keep young. And I just started talking about Rick instead of dumplings, and then started using his full name, Rick Noonan, in it. And
If you're listening, Rick, hi.
yeah. And we watched about 3/4 of the movie, and he was sitting there going, it's really weird, Noonan must mean something in Korean. And I was like, are you fucking joking me? Like, they were talking about rubbing Rick on their face to keep young. And he was like, it's really weird that it means something in their language, right? And I was like, you're only pointing this out now? Are you serious? Oh my god.
Brilliant. Johnny, what's your game?
I never played Wipeout, 1995, but it was the first one that I was aware of, where they were getting lads to contribute songs to something.
Yeah, good.
Chemical Brothers and stuff.
Chemical Brothers, Orbital,
definitely.
Left
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Yeah.
And I was young, and I was hearing about all these lads going to nightclubs and putting Orbital up on the big screens, and lads in beanbags playing, and I was like, I can't wait to go to nightclubs, they sound amazing. And I came to Dublin and went to Coppers, and that's not at all what I thought nightclubs were.
Your country folk, the first place you go to is Coppers.
Yes.
That's not a beanbag, that's a vanguard.
I was tonguing some nurse from Mayo called Ashley and going, this is horrible.
But like, I got into loads of bands that I found through those games. I used to hate it when people were like, oh, but you only get into this through Guitar Hero. I was like, yeah, and you got into it to the radio.
Yeah.
Through hearing it in a nightclub.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
My sister slept with the whole band. Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Great. That's legitimate.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mastodon, I really, really loved the soundtrack for Brutal Legend. And
Brilliant soundtrack, yeah.
Absolutely love that game. I wish it was a better game. I love it despite itself.
It is.
I wish it was a better game.
Most mismarketed game ever.
Moments of genius.
Well, sorry, no. I think that would be in the top three, right? The three like worst marketed games of the last decade: Dead Island, which we previously mentioned, No Man's Sky, and Brutal Legend.
At least Brutal Legend had a multiplayer. It wasn't very good, but it tried. You needed the multiplayer trophies to get the platinum, but nobody was playing it.
No.
Nobody.
And the whole place had fallen into ruins. But there's this mist that goes through the city at nighttime, and if it touches you, it kills you. And it's like a palpable mist you can see. But there's a point where you have to go into the city because you're trying to track down something that's being stolen by the bad guys.
Yeah.
And you're going around, and if you know the books, you're like, really don't want to be in this place, because it's made very clear in the books that this is the one place you do not fucking go.
Yeah.
Like there's people who are like the most powerful mages you've ever seen, and they're like tearing buildings apart and like lifting lifting entire armies. And then there's like this one area they're like, I ain't going near that, and you're like, well, if they're not going near there, I don't, So you're going through it, and you've all the sound effects, and there's all these like jump scare moments and like creepy moments.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was playing it and had my headphones on, because I always try and play games with headphones for the surround sound effect.
Yeah.
And there's a sound effect in that game which is about 5 to 6 times louder than any other noise in the game, and it only happens in Shadow Logoth, purely to fuck with you. And it's a sigh. The city goes, and it's louder than everything else, and you just go, what the fuck was that? And my whole body just froze, and I was like, oh, there's something behind me, or there's something around the corner. There's nothing. It's randomly timed. It just happens every so often in the city, and you're like, brilliant. This is so fucking unnerving when you're trying to play the game. Like, it's one of those games that wasn't very well known. I think it was kind of picked up by fans of the series. Over the years, though, it's gotten like, it's appeared on loads of these like most underrated of all times and all the rest. It is actually quite a good game, but a bit dated now. I mean, it's 18 years old, but I just remember it creeping the fuck out of me, like with that one moment, because when it happened, I'm like, oh no, don't do that to me. So.
My scary moment in games like that where they just use the sound perfectly, because in Silent Hill 2 there's a bit where you walk into a room, and the point of Silent Hill, it's very well used sound where you've got the radio on you and it's crackling every time there's monsters near, And when you're when you're out running in the streets, it is always crackling. There's always something happening. There's always music playing. There's always some cue. And you're a character called Jim Sunderland looking for your dead wife. There's a bit where you walk into a room and the sound goes off. Everything goes silent, and you just hear a woman's voice go, "James." And again, I froze. All right. And then I stepped forward, and I'm on a marble floor, and I heard my footstep, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, every monster in the game can hear me. And as I walked, I just had to cross this this kind of courtyard into the building, and it was a marble floor, and it was echoing. And I was like, everyone can hear me. Oh my god, I'm the loudest person in the world. It's amazing.
The air raid siren in Silent Hill, it's like a Pavlovian response. That happens, and I just feel uncomfortable every time.
And slightly hard at the same time. I don't know what. Them nurses are deep in my brain somewhere.
Yeah.
Fear boner.
The fear boner.
It's real, man.
That was one thing. Like when I came out of the film, went to see it when I came out, and I remember coming out of it. My friend turned to me and he was like, I don't know, I wasn't mad on that. And I was like, he's like, it didn't feel like a horror. I was like, well, no, it felt perfectly like Silent Hill. And he's like, what do you mean? I thought like Silent Hill was a horror game. It's like, it is, but it's a horror of discomfort. It's it's not really a jump scare game. It's not a game that's meant to kind of, the Japanese don't really do jump scares. They do the whole thing of it's going to be there and you can see it, and it's very much the main character not looking at it. And it did have its gory moments in the film, but I think they used it to good effect. Like when Pyramid Head showed up and basically flayed your woman.
My favourite bit of the whole film.
I was like, well, that's certainly a way of showing how powerful he is.
Yes.
Because prior to that, he just kind of walked around a bit and swung a sword a bit.
Yeah, I guess it was to demonstrate that to the viewers because I knew the games. I was like, oh fuck, it's Pyramid Head.
Yeah.
And he kind of go, watch this real quick. And I was like, I knew he could do that, but I guess now you guys know as well.
Yeah, because when he shows up, Titanfall 1 shipped with 40 hours of music.
Wow.
And there's 20 hours for each faction. Like that and when you install Titanfall 1 on your PC, it has like an 80 gig install or something like that, or 40 gig, 80 or 90 gig install, but 40 gigs of it is just music because it's all lossless audio, full FLAC, like they give you the sound as best they can. And I know that game was delayed at one point, so I'm wondering if the guy had made he comes out of his studio in the sound booth in the studio, goes, so I got the soundtrack ready, and they're like, that's nice, and he's like, yeah, I've got 8 hours total. They're like, yeah, we're gonna be delayed a few more months. He's like, go make some more, so he just kept making music. But what it is when you're playing as either of the factions, the music resumes roughly from where you last left off.
Right.
So you have to play nearly 20 hours of each faction before you start hearing the same music.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like the voice actors. It's like you've like your man, what's his name, John DiMaggio. Now, who did Bender and who did Marcus Phoenix and I mentioned Gears of War again. But he's got over 400 credits to his name. Yeah, and he makes a fortune. He's like, okay, so I'm happy doing this.
I've literally heard Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant saying it's stupid money for nothing.
Oh yeah,
mad money for nothing. And you're there for 2 hours and you read through the lines and you go home.
It always kind of not confused me, but annoyed me a bit when only recently they start going and the biggest entertainment launch of this year was a computer game, and it's like, well, it's nearly always been a computer game since it came along. It's like the biggest film in 90 whatever year it was, 93, 94, 93.
Super Mario Brothers.
No, Jurassic Park.
95, I would have said. Jesus.
No, whatever.
94.
94. It was Jurassic Park. Oh yeah, did whatever amount of millions. NBA Jam came out the same year and did triple that. NBA Jam hit $1 billion in its first year, and it's like, and that was just on arcade machines. It was like, this is not a big thing. It's not new.
I was sitting with people in the pub last night, and and they were saying about video games, and I was like, well, the Spider-Man video game made more money than the Spider-Man movie, and it was a big movie. And the people I was with wouldn't believe me.
No.
And I was like, no, they didn't. Maybe it was Spider-Man 2 or something. I was like, no, I think maybe it was, but whatever it was, there was.
No, it was Spider-Man 2 because it was the Spider-Man 2 game is considered probably the best one of them.
Maybe it was
it's the one that's the voiceover with Bruce Campbell. And he comments everything on it.
But the guys, they wouldn't believe me, and they were like, no, that was a big movie. And I was like, but a game is 60 quid. It's
exactly. You could go to the cinema twice to see the film and then buy it on DVD, and you still.
You're almost at the amount that you've spent, but the cost of developing a game is usually a hell of a lot cheaper than the cost of the film.
Yeah.
So, and
which is a disgrace, which I hate.
And like Spider-Man, that's just a poser model with a bit of red on him. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think my last and final piece about music was a bit that still stands out to me as the biggest unnerving change was when I was playing Demon Souls, and you go back to the Nexus and it has this really calm, passive music, and you know that you're safe. You're always going to be safe in the Nexus, and you brought your souls back. You're getting your stuff fixed, and it just becomes the sound of peace. And there's a one point where things go wrong, and you go back to the Nexus, and the music is in a minor key and dark, and I just couldn't get over it for about an hour. It was like, freaked me out.
Oh wow.
And Linda was playing with me, I was like, there's something after changing in the game, and it did, it just becomes more able, but I couldn't feel, it just felt horrible.
Yeah. Well, there was
It's just such a weird change, and I bought the soundtrack to that as well, and I have the Nexus nice music on it, and the Nexus not nice music is on it, and I just, it's weird. It's almost like if you walked into your house and it was like a rotting smell or something. Like, what? No.
But the other way, I think if you're used to it, it goes the other way. Like I heard somebody linked me a video the other day where it's Schism by Tool, but in a major key.
Oh,
just sounds wrong. It's like
so wrong.
Oh, it does not want.
There's a really glorious, happy guitar trill in the Diablo 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's just this really nice bit, and every time I'm hacking people up, I just for a minute go, oh, that's lovely, and then go back to hacking people up.
Yeah.
So TV, Johnny, what was your?
Usually when I start looking up things, I kind of already know what I'm going to say, and I just want to, like, it's not exactly the scientific method. I'm not testing a hypothesis. I generally come up with something quick and then be like, I'll find some talking points on that. And I thought I was going to pick Glow, which I've just finished watching, The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and it had loads of like Patti Smith, Tears for Fears, The Scorpions, Pat Benatar, Journey, like their use of music. It's pure nostalgia for me. And it is, like, the whole show is that. And because they're just leaning into it, it's so well done, and I would absolutely recommend go watch it. And when one of these songs starts, you're genuinely excited. You know you're watching purposefully shitty wrestling. Like, the wrestling is bad, and everything is bad, but when you see people get into the wrestling, and, like, the Scorpions come on, you're genuinely excited. But no, I was very surprised to find out that I actually was going to pick Scrubs. I really genuinely like all the songs that show up in Scrubs. I can get some sleep. Yeah, overkill song. You're saying the music supervisor.
It's amazing. So
I was just reading an article, and Jordan from the show, the woman who plays Jordan, was the music supervisor.
She's the creator's wife.
Is she?
The guy who writes it, I can't remember his name now. The guy who created Scrubs, that's his wife.
Right.
Yeah. That's probably why she was involved in it, because it was just like.
Well, she was apparently just the unofficial music supervisor. She would keep bringing them songs, and I always think that
is it her fault that I mean I totally didn't cry on the episode where JD finished, but like is it her fault at the end of that? When you've got what's his name, it's Peter Gabriel covering, it is a cover, I think, the Book of Love, and it's his cover at the end of it, like, and it's a really good cover as opposed to other covers he's done, cough, Radiohead, cough. So
but I'm a big Peter Gabriel fan. We did that album where he let other people, because he never lets other people cover his stuff.
And the idea is he'd cover one of theirs, they'd cover one of his.
Scratch my back, you scratch yours. I think were the name of the albums. Disappointing.
Yeah, that Radiohead cover is fucking abysmal, and I like the way Radiohead wouldn't comment on it, but they just went, you know what, we're not going to cover one of your tracks. So I was like, I'm kidding.
Well, it's spite.
But no, I think I just, every so often they'd come out with like Overkill with Colin Hayes, or
brilliant song, absolutely.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Israel Kamakawigi Yoko Koko. I'm gonna just
keep going. A few more syllables.
Make some vaguely Hawaiian noises right now. But they just come out with something, I go, oh, that's nice, and like I don't think of any other show where I'd just hear a random song like that and go, oh, they put a nice song in there.
And they weren't too obvious. Yeah, they weren't too like super popular.
Do you want to go around and do your favorite cartoon theme song of all time?
Animaniacs, and not the Animaniacs track. It's the Countries of the World.
That's brilliant.
So,
go on.
Damn, probably Run With Us from the Return.
Oh, that's the best song.
Which one?
Lisa Lockheed, Run With Us, and it's not on Spotify.
No, it's not.
It's the greatest song I've ever heard.
It makes a lot of my playlists redundant.
For Raccoons. Run With Us now. Sorry.
What was your one going to be?
Round the Twist.
Oh, brilliant!
Did you ever
feel that?
Yeah, like I was going to say X-Men. I was going to say the 90s X-Men one, but I figured one of you guys would say that.
What?
The 90s X-Men one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was just no, the United States, Canada, Mexico. No, like that whole one is just like I whenever I think of the Animaniacs, I hear that song, not the actual theme tune. So
cool. All right, I'm gonna wrap up and give people homework. Go watch The Crow and then Spawn as a double bill. I've written here, Glennon sleeps with the Hoover on. Johnny, Google if that's safe. That's more for me.
I was just thinking, how rich are you going to afford that electricity bill?
I have a Hoover going all night.
Yeah.
I've got homework. Go out and shoot a side of beef to see how that sounds.
Does it say like Titanfall or Saving Private Ryan?
Which is more accurate?
Yeah. I need to read the Wheel of Time series apparently.
That's like something you need a year after read.
Yeah.
The entire runtime for the audiobook for the Wheel of Time is nearly a month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Jesus, what? Start watching Ray Donovan. It is GTA the show, so that's I'm sold on that. And that when Glennon says hateful eight, it sounds like he's saying hate fillet. I really genuinely thought it was.
Hang on a second, you're from Sligo. You can't go mocking anyone's accent.
I genuinely thought it was a heavy metal band that I just didn't know about, like Cannibal Corpse or something. There's some metal band called Hateful Eight.
And the Angry Blowjobs.
Yeah, the Angry Blowjobs. And if it's not a band, I'm going to start it. So. It's damn fine.
I've had Kopi Luwak.
You've had?
Kopi Luwak.
What's Kopi Luwak?
It's the.
Is it like filtered through a monkey or something?
Yeah, it's the most.
I knew it was something like that.
Shit beans.
It's shit beans, right?
It's meant to be like, this is the nicest one ever, and it still just tastes like coffee.
Alright.
It's like wine for me. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, this is a beautiful wine." It's like it's just vinegar. Come on.
It's just sad
all the
grapes.
same. Yeah, it's literally the tears of grapes because you're stomping.
Yeah. Alright. I actually had already started recording, so some of that might be the intro.
Okay, cool. Tears of grapes.
Cool. We're looking at setting, which is a fairly broad term.
Setting or scenario, yeah.
Scenario.
I'm not even sure if I interpreted this right, but I think my picks should be out.
I thought you meant the config menu. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's so many people who go, oh, okay, that's such and such. Because this is where they kind of got like one of their big moments. Like, but yeah, Brick from 2005, phenomenal film.
Love it.
That's my film's heading.
Do you want to go next, Kev, in case I steal yours?
Yeah. So my one, and I was thinking a lot about this one, and kind of struggling with it. Interestingly enough, because like especially in film, you would think it'd be easier. And there's a lot of obvious ones that jump out. You might think like Mordor or something, or not Mordor, Middle Earth. You know, and it's kind of like obvious, interesting worlds and settings. But one that I really really love. I love the style of it, everything how it's presented is Beetlejuice.
Fuck off.
Was it Beetlejuice?
Fantastic.
No way. So yeah, and it's I think the thing I love the most about that is the idea that death is so tedious. You know what I mean? That they go into the afterworld and and it's all just like office paperwork, you know, like what do you call it? Civil servants, just typing away, and
bureaucracy.
And you can see how they died in all of them, and just that. Like I say, the bureaucracy behind it, and it's just the tedium, and it makes a really interesting frame for something that's usually so solemn and serious, and then the artistic style in the movie as well. I mean, it's very obviously Tim Burton kind of standard, where big bold angles and things.
It's for me, it's the last good film he directed. Like, anyone can make a Tim Burton film at this point. I'm going to take a story that is precious to American folklore, be it American culture, where folklore, comics, TV shows, whatever. I'm going to bleach all the colour out of it and then highlight one colour in the film. I'm going to have a Danny Elfman soundtrack. All the staircases are going to be crooked. There's going to be some black and white spirals on stuff. And Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, looking far paler than they normally do.
Yeah. Having said all that,
and every character has to be quirky in some regards. On you go.
Of course.
And that is the template for.
Sure.
I like
but
that.
having said all that, Beetlejuice, I think, has aged so well.
Yes.
And it really really still stands up today. And I mean, the first time you see it, it's just amazing. Like everything about it is just it's really well
Michael
put
Keaton.
together.
Michael Keaton, like we came to this conclusion the other day in the house, myself and my housemates were talking about it. Michael Keaton doesn't do bad films. Sorry, Michael Keaton is not bad in films. He may do bad films, but he is not bad in films.
Because he's amazing in that.
He's only in there. He's only in it for 22 minutes.
Is that it? Really?
That's it.
Oh,
He does not show up. He's not like the main character in that film. I think that was the first film I saw where the afterlife was given no religious treatment at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Christian's right, or it wasn't even a spin on a Christian.
Because there was like
afterlife.
voodoo shit going on, and,
Yeah.
and you saw like all these different aspects of it, you know. And I loved how there was something potentially perilous behind every door. I mean, you go through a door and you're in the sand, the big open sand desert with the worms and shit, you know. And it was also, but all the characters were super interesting as well. And, like, because the characters were almost the same as the setting, you know. The setting was reflected by the characters.
Like, that film had everything from the 80s. It had a Baldwin, it had Gina Davis.
But who was the guy, the kind of decorator guy that
Otto.
she got in Otto? He was
That's
brilliant.
amazing.
Like,
I love that.
as a character, he was just absolutely brilliant. Just coming into this like old house and doing all this kind of real pretentious,
Ridiculous
pompous, you know,
Yeah.
over the top art. So, and that was real. Like, I don't know what year that film was made, but it was the DVD is behind you there.
Exactly.
But, it was really like that time though in the 80s where it was all very kind of, you know, office businessman with this garish art, you know, and it was it was
big
really
statement pieces for the art and big, like, the woman likes the art because it's big and she's got the mad shoulders on her top, on her blazer and everything.
88.
And because of that you think it mightn't age well, but actually because of that I think it helps it age well.
It's because it's a piss take.
Yeah.
And everyone's able to immediately identify with it.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know about anyone else, but I really wanted one of those model town things after that. I was like,
big
I want one of those. That's fucking awesome.
The opening Danny Elfman's song in the opening is about 3 different songs mashed into one. Like, it doesn't. I don't know what he's trying to do there, and then, like, they even do the daylight come on. Dun, 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 dun. And then it shows the town. Then it shows a spider coming over the town, and then it just cuts back out and goes, "Nah, just kidding." And you're like, "What? Okay." Like the amount of things where I'm like, "Oh, you know ghosts? Yeah, no, you don't. Let's do it this way."
Yeah,
you know the afterlife? Yeah, no, you don't. Let's do it this. There's so many like confounding your expectations. But I love the setting of Hellraiser. It's not quite that there's an afterlife, but the idea that there is another dimension that is infinite pleasure and pain. And I just love the idea that once you know that exists, some people have to seek it out. Like some people,
one of the film series, when they did the traditional horror thing of going into ridiculous numbers, one of the films in that series,
I've seen all 8 movies. So.
So there is one.
What is 8 of them, isn't it?
There's actually 9, but then they switched out Doug Bradley isn't Pinhead anymore in 9, so I didn't watch it. It's not Pinhead.
That's like I didn't watch the new
Nightmare
on Elm Street because, you know, there's only one Freddy.
I did watch the new Nightmare on Elm Street because it had, what's his name, who played Rorschach playing him, which was
Oh,
actually
really? Oh, was that him?
Yeah, and the father of one of the kids is my own personal saviour, who I worship regularly, as Clancy Brown. So
I don't know who Clancy Brown is.
yes, you do. He is the Cronin from Highlander.
Oh,
and
okay.
he is Chief Officer Hadley he's Chief Officer Hadley from Shawshank Redemption. He's brother Justin from Carnival. And he is the voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Brilliant, I'm sold.
He's also Lex Luthor in the animated JLA stuff. But anyway,
we'll be touching on SpongeBob again later, not to get
but yeah, he's...
Oh my god!
But yeah, there is a thing. The 9th Hellraiser film was an ashcan make, as in that they never really released it. They showed it in like one cinema and then they scrapped it. It was just to renew the license and to make sure.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me about this before, actually.
But there is a point in one of the films where someone starts like giving out to Pinhead. Yeah, because that's what you do, pick a fight with the guy. Like. And it's like he starts giving out to him and saying how you're evil and corrupt. And then Pinhead directly quotes the Bible to justify what he does. I cannot remember the quote, but I remember seeing it going, that's ballsy.
Brilliant.
But that scene was obviously cut in America.
This guy's name, Clive Barker.
Yeah, I've seen his penis. Sorry, carry on.
Story for another day. That's what I'm saying about it. What I'm saying about a shitty series of a progressively shitty series of movies is much more interesting.
I'm sorry, I should clarify. I've seen his erect penis.
Let's keep moving, shall we?
So that's
that was TV.
that was no,
that was movies.
That was movies. If Hellraiser was a TV show, I've missed out. So, Kev, what you got?
Go first? Alright, so well, I kind of mentioned it as an honourable mention, but SpongeBob in terms of setting, like Bikini Bottom, is just amazing. You know, I kind of alluded to it earlier on, but just the idea of having campfires underwater and how you've got a squirrel with
But the explanation for it all is
it's the Bikini Atoll where they're doing all the nuclear testing.
that's why they're all mutated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be. They're at the bottom of Bikini Atoll, and like it's fantastic.
But Black Mirror, the one episode that really stood out to me was where I think they called it The Grain, where people got this implant that basically recorded everything they saw, everything they said, and all that sort of stuff throughout the day. So you could replay it back. So it starts with a guy at a job interview, and he's doing the interview and stuff, and he comes out after and he's playing it back, and straight away I was just like, shit, the amount of time you would spend looking back over things that you regretted saying, or things you're like, oh shit, did I fuck up that job interview, or did I say something stupid, or Jesus, can you imagine watching back on some of your nights out when you were properly drunk?
I had my dick out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that
sword fighting Clive Barker?
yeah, that was really, really actually terrifying, that one. Not the sword fighting.
You weren't there, man.
No, for me...
It's got tendrils.
For me, that episode was particularly terrifying.
I will say that in that Donald Gleason Sexbot episode, which is the episode.
Don't ruin it by calling it that.
That's the name of that episode. It's Donald Gleason Sexbot. I'm pretty sure I saw that on the IMDb page.
Is he credited like that?
Donald Gleason Sexbot.
He
plays two characters.
Donald Gleason and Donald Gleason Sexbot. There's two of them.
He plays the before and after. There's a small.
He was also great in that episode.
He was fantastic in that episode.
What was your TV show?
My TV show. I'm going to do a similar thing of shout out to a cartoon before I get onto my actual one, which is Adventure Time.
Right.
And it's actually very similar to the thinking that was behind SpongeBob, which is Adventure Time is set in a post-apocalyptic world where half the world has been destroyed, and anytime they look at a globe of the world or a map, or anytime they make reference to stuff, they show a chunk taken out of the earth, like a piece of the planet is missing,
just gone,
where something horrible has happened. And the idea isn't that like Finn is the only human in this fantasy world. He might be the only human left alive in this world where everything is mutated and magic has come back and everything.
There's also a theory that he is the only human left, and this is his mind trying to cope with everything that's happening, which is why his dog is magical and can talk to him. You know, it's very much that whole thing.
But if you look at icebergs and stuff in the background,
the animated I Am Legend.
Yes, basically. But if you look at stuff in the background, sometimes you'll see like a shopping cart stuck in an iceberg, or like something that is a shout out to the past civilizations that have been there. And the idea that the people who seem most human, like vampires and magicians and wizards and stuff, are the people who've been around for 1,000 years and are no longer human. Like they do episodes where they go back to their human lives and then bring it all the way forward as to why they're like the Marceline's a vampire and can live that long, so she's fine. The Ice King, being a wizard, you know, can keep himself alive, but has gone completely insane over the millennia. Like that's the point of him. He calls all of his servant penguins Gunther. And to this day, I don't know whether there's one Gunther. I don't know whether he keeps referring to the right one as Gunther or whether they're all Gunther. But that's the kind of shout out I want to do. My actual choice is the League of Gentlemen. And the setting is Royston Vasey.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Dave. And it's got...
I don't know the League of Gentlemen.
It's basically...
It's a bad acid trip through a Monty Python show. Like it's essentially what it is.
Ostensibly, they wanted to do a sketch comedy thing. So what they did was, instead of playing all these different characters and, you know, not linking them together, or just doing the Harry Enfield thing of just smash cut to the next thing, it's fine, don't worry about it. They put together this town with the idea that every set of characters lives somewhere in this town. So on the edge of town there's the kind of insular rural couple who hate the idea of outsiders coming in. Like, this is a local shop for local people, there's nothing for you here, that kind of thing. And as the series,
so just like exaggerated stereotypes.
But then it starts getting very sinister very quickly,
and it starts getting super just creepy, and every character that they want to do lives somewhere in the town. And the guys who run the local shop didn't like this. They didn't like the idea that there would be more people now coming in. So they had been quietly killing all of the workers that were coming. And one of the jokes is the police officer comes in, is talking to them, and just as he goes, all right, everything seems fine here, just as he's about to leave, the shopkeeper lady panics and goes, we didn't burn them. It's like, oh, Tubbs, really? And then like closes the door behind the cop and is like, you know, get the rope.
It kind of that almost reminds me of Hot Fuzz a bit.
Yes, it's very like that. But
I would be surprised if it influenced Hot Fuzz.
The scene that just sticks in my mind with it is the bit where they figured out the way they are going to make sure that the road doesn't get built. So there's a bit where the guys are like, it's raining, it's pissing rain, all the workers are there, they're finally breaking ground, they're going to make this road, there's nothing you can do about it. They're digging, and one of the guys just looks and goes, we found something, sir. And the people in the shop have hidden something where the ground was going to be broken to try and ward them off. And this is like, the credits have started rolling, like it's the end of an episode, it's the end of a season, like it's not, there's nothing left here to do. And you see some guys grab some ropes and they horse it up, like they're pulling this thing, and this thing just suddenly is erected, and it's a crucifix with a goat crucified to it. Like, out this, its body mangled, and they pull it up, and they don't know what to do, and they're all like white and freaking out, and like all the work stops, and they just stare at it, and the camera pulls back, and it's out over the town, and a crucified goat, and all these workers who aren't from the town just staring at it, not knowing what to do, and that's the end of that season. Like, that's how that ends.
It's not quite a cliffhanger, it's more drop you off a cliff.
Right, deal with that, fuck it.
It is an astounding show.
Yeah, very messed up.
Yep.
One of them is The Venture Brothers. It's a phenomenal TV series. As they there is a line in it where someone goes like, mentions bad guys like, whoa, it's very hurtful. The term is antagonist. And he talks like that, and it's like, so they have their antagonist relations is the goal of Calamitous Intent.
It's another one with a lot of bureaucracy, actually.
But that's the thing. It's you ring them when you have a complaint about your service. You don't ring them because you're being arched. You ring them because your arch is breaking the rules, because there's fully established rules and it's all legal. Oh yeah, Anderson, yeah. So we call him PP Anderson and all this type of thing. And they keep mentioning this agent of the agency called Anderson, and they never talk about him. At one point they capture one of the villains who's like 3 times the size of a normal man, and they have to like wrap him in bed sheets because they don't have any clothes for him. And it's like, you could have washed it first, and it's like, oh yeah, Anderson sheets, yeah. He's a bit of a bedwetter. And then it's like, there's a point later on the episode where he goes into a control room and this character you've never seen before is like, I do not weather the bed. He's like, whatever, Puddles, what's going on? And it's that whole, like, that type of payoff where they're like, little references, and then they just deliver it and it's go, keep going, move on. And it's so relentless in how it does it. It's phenomenal show.
In terms of setting as well, it has permadeath. If something happens in an episode, that change is now permanent. They don't without spoiling that, if something does reset, they explain that as well.
Yes.
But if something happens to a character, like it'd be really weird in a TV show to change someone's designation, like if someone was doctor and now they're professor.
Oh Jesus!
But that does happen. If someone's role changes, they just
go
build it in.
So there's a character, the main bad guy in it is a guy called the Monarch. And he styles himself after the monarch butterfly. Right. And he's Dr. Venture's arch. And he has his girlfriend called Dr. Girlfriend. Right? And Dr. Girlfriend dresses like Jackie Onassis.
Yep.
Has like the pillbox hat, the pink outfit. She has no idea who Jackie Onassis is. It even comes up once where they're doing one of those party things where you have the person you are on your back.
Yeah.
People have to describe it to you, and she's like, "Who the fuck is Jackie Onassis?" She talks with the deepest voice in the show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as in, because like there's a running joke of, is she a man, was she a man, and all the rest, or like, and all this type of thing, or like, it's like, since when do you smoke? And everyone's like, what, really? And then she becomes Dr. My Fiance, as the monarch referencer, and then Dr. Mrs. My Wife. So it just goes with it, like, across the whole thing. There's even a character, one of his henchmen, there's 2 henchmen, 21 and 24, and there's even a point where, like, they're obvious comic relief in a comic show, like, they're some of the funniest things in it. There's a point where he's like, we must send him on a mission, Agents 21 and 24 front and center, and she's like, why do you send them? It's like, I know it sounds weird, but they have that weird mix of disposable and invulnerable that makes for the perfect henchmen, because they just blunder their way through every mission, and they get like.
My favorite joke from Avatar is when they finally got the team together, and they're I think they're all on top of an airship, and they're like heading off, and they're going, all right, we'll know when we see him. He's going to be driving the thing, and one of the girls just goes, there he is, and they all look, and it's the blind girl,
and they look back at her,
and they all look at where she's pointing, and then they look at her, and she just waves her hand in front of her face to illustrate that she's actually blind, and goes, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah. Or like, there's a couple of times where we're out thinking, someone will go, it's like, hey, what do you think it is? And she's like, I assume you're holding something up. I have no idea what's going on. So, but it's a great show. Like, but like Bebop just has such a good setting. Like,
yeah. We're Final Fantasy 7. That world I thought was great, but we've already talked about Final Fantasy 7 at length. So fuck that. And I'm wrong. The other one was Tomb Raider, which is basically like Indiana Jones, and again, from a setting point of view, just loved like being in the caves and shit. When I was a kid, I saw Jurassic Park and I was like, oh, I want to be an archaeologist. And then when I grew up, then it was funny because I met an archaeologist and she told me how boring it was. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't go down that road.
Another quick one is The Division. Well, it got a lot of criticism for its early gameplay, and they have gone back and completely rebuilt a lot of the end game, which is good, and it's quite playable now. I like the idea of how it's set up. The whole thing of it's a believable apocalypse. Someone comes up with a virus that's transmitted through money. It binds itself to the cloth, because all American currency is made out of cloth. It binds itself to the cloth. So first it destabilizes the entire country by money is the problem.
And
at the same time it kills 90% of the population.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So straight away but it's only in America. So as well as a part where particularly someone who's not American,
isn't money in Canada laminated?
Plastic. But as someone who's who's not American, when I'm playing it, in the back of my head I'm going, I wonder what's happening in the rest of the world because of this. And you get little snippets because you're going through areas and you hear a radio running in the background or whatever, or you get like a newspaper dispenser, and there's like the latest update or whatever the last update was before it all crashed, and there's entire areas of the city just sectioned off because they're still too contagious and all the rest. So I like that idea. But the main one for me would be Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Okay.
So the Wolfenstein games. So here's the thing. You know when you go onto a website and all the fields are there for you to fill in, and it has stuff like name, address, and those words are already typed in. I reckon that when you go to make a shooter, you open it up, and the words automatically filled in are Nazis, Germany, 1944, Operation Overlord, and I'm like, for me, there's no inventiveness whatsoever. I think Ben Croce Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation said that killing Nazis in World War II is the white noise that in a game designer's head. And he's right. There is no imagination required. So very quickly in the first one, because this is essentially a trilogy going back to the Wolfenstein that came out like 15, 20 years ago. That was kind of the first one, and they suddenly went, "Oh, we're doing more with this." And I was like, "Really? Oh, okay. I thought that was gone." Where they very quickly introduced the paranormal, and it's like, we're like, again,
Nazis or zombies? Why not both?
but again, it's the whole thing of very quickly. It's like, you're killing Nazis, and it's almost gone back to the comedy thing of, this is the familiar character. This is the thing to bring you in, that you're like, okay, I'm on familiar territory because I've seen a computer game in my past, so I know about killing Nazis. And then it very quickly derails it and goes the other way. When you get to Wolfenstein: The New Order, it starts in 1946. They've won. And
I'm a big fan of alt history, which is cool. I like that angle.
And then it jumps forward to 1960. There's a plot mechanic, and you go forward to 1960, and now you're part of like a small resistance. And I would recommend everyone play it. Like I think if you're a gamer, you're familiar with Wolfenstein at least, because it was kind of like one of the first shooters, and also one of the first stealth games. The original Wolfenstein game was a stealth game. Because everyone thinks Return to Castle Wolfenstein was the first one. There was one before it, and it was like half text based, and it was actually stealth game.
I love that everyone thinks Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I know, but people are like, it's a catchy title, like, but and the main character, Blazkowicz, BJ. People stop calling him BJ. I don't understand why, but he's, as someone had said to me before, he's got the saddest eyes in gaming. He just looks so like he's been fighting them for 20 years. He's seen so many of his friends die, and he's
whoever said that obviously hasn't played Nintendogs though, because when those puppies look at you from your Nintendo DS, I mean,
but like in the cutscenes, he's not the macho bravo guy. He's just the weary. I just want to be done.
Can that war fatigue thing going.
I've seen, and there was even like,
what do they call it, like that 1,000-yard stare.
Yes, and there's you're like, this only works if you're playing a game like Dark Souls, where it's meant to be that oppressive, struggle of a game. Like, it's not meant to... And
it's actually tiring. I mean, it's emotionally tiring to play.
But I mean, even in the likes of, in Dark Souls, there is the odd comedy reference in characters when you're back at your sanctuary or whatever.
There's also bits where they kill you in a certain way, you go, that's pretty funny.
But those are meant to be like sorrowful games. There's not meant to be a joyous resolution at the end. There's not meant to be
building an atmosphere.
I would love to see a mod now where it's Castle Wolfenstein, and we've played first-person games looking through the character's eyes. We've played third-person games where you're following Lara Croft around. I want to see a second-person game now where the camera's hard on the dude's face, and then in the little corner there's a mini map where you're shooting, and every bullet shot it's just sad eyes on it. Just, as the blood splashes against you, it's like, oh
do you
god.
know what? If the new Wolfenstein game is that, and I just get to look at BJ's sad face all the time, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm like, it starts out like it's just his face clean, and then it's just accumulating splatters of blood as the game, and at the end you're just drenched in blood with your sad eyes.
I'm going to kickstart that, so everybody look up online BJ POV, and we'll get that started. Fantastic. I have a whole bunch here, so I'm going to do a quick fire. Someday I will talk about Silent Hill, but this
That's its own entity.
I was going to say, if you're playing the drinking game at home, it's drink whenever I mention Gillian Anderson, Glennon mentions Gears of War, any reference to Twin Peaks, or Final Fantasy VII gets hatred. Silent Hill is my favourite setting of all time. I would live in Silent Hill if I could. I have Silent Hill, Alan Wake, and just all the Stephen King and Lovecraft universe down as this idea that your hell is what you make of it. Like you bring your own demons to it. I will save it for Halloween or something, and I'll do all 3 entries on Silent Hill somehow. A stealth game is a game where by your very nature you're very carefully and methodically moving through the space. Yeah. And I found that there was levels I was stuck on because I wanted to do it right. I also wanted to do it non-violently as much as possible, which was impossible.
I tried that for about 30 seconds in that game, and I was like, fuck this, I'm able to blink around, I'm murdering everybody. And then I got to the point where my goal wasn't to get through without being detected. My goal was to make sure that I killed absolutely everybody that was possible to kill. I think I did it as well.
The story I will tell from Dishonored that made me just fall in love with it, even though, again, not my favourite game, but there's this one level where I was at a party and it was a masquerade ball, and it suited the setting amazingly. And first of all, when you walk in, you can sign your name. You can sign a fake name, or you can sign Corvo, which is your real. You sign your real name if you approach. I suppose if you enter through the front door, they ask you to sign in. So I said, this will be funny, and I signed Corvo. I'm a wanted criminal. I'm wanted for like regicide, I think. And is that treasonous? I wonder. And it's, they make you sign your name, and I went, okay. So I signed Corvo. And then went around the party, talked to everyone, because it was a mask ball. I'm in a mask. I can get away with. This is the first level I can get away with talking to everyone. And then the guards come up to me and go, "Hey, there's a problem with when you signed in. Can you come with us real quick?"
No way.
And I went, "Shit, I forgot I did that." And I'd been walking around for a half hour. I'd spoken to everybody in the entire party. I'd spoken to my mark, the person I was supposed to kill. I'd spoken literally to everyone. I went, "Shit." And I went, "Alright," and I could see there was guards standing beside the door to the basement. So I went, cool, 1 second. And I just shanked the dude who was talking to me, blinked over to my target found her, grabbed her, threw her over my shoulder, blinked straight up to like the big tough guy who was going to slow down time the moment this all kicks off. Or he plays the song that stops me using my powers. Pointed at his face, slowed down time. His music started just a second too late, and it started playing very slowly. Blinked down the stairs into the basement, hid in a wine cellar, heard all the rabble going on upstairs. They started coming down the stairs but couldn't find me, went back up. And then dropped the unconscious lady off with the dude who was waiting in the basement, who was going to sail her away so I could get the non-violent ending. And I was just sitting there going, that was astounding. I forgot I was playing a video game. I just was at a party. And then somebody interrupted me and tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "You gotta play the video game now."
Do you know what I really love about that game is the setting. I think that party was a great example of it. And it's, you mentioned Thief earlier on as well. And what's so nice about that setting is I actually spent a lot of time creeping around just listening to people talk. Just listening to the NPC conversations. And you're like, what are these people talking about? You know what I mean? And it was a lot of fun.
I get to do a Twin Peaks reference. in Max Payne.
For people listening, you can't appreciate how excited Jonny was there. He was just gyrating in his seat a little bit.
There's a scene...
We're a backwards talking midget away from sitting in Twin Peaks right now.
For this week.
Oh, homework for this week is... That is a list of paint swatches. That's not useful. Gillian Anderson. No. I'm in so much pain. But anyway, that was that. Hello and welcome.
Yes. Oh, we didn't mention the last episode, but spoilers. So this one we're talking about ensemble or supporting cast. It doesn't necessarily have to be actors. It can be like a show where there's no one defined protagonist, or a film or a game series where you have like a large group of characters that you just think work really well. Because it's kind of interesting how they approach it. I will put my hand up right now and say that one of mine is technically cheating, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So.
You're always at that.
Yeah.
You're a tricky customer.
You know.
You're a maverick.
Damn, how did you know?
Damn!
Movie Maverick with Mel Gibson, of course. I can start because
Because you're in the middle of drinking. So
I am in the middle of drinking. This is the first episode where we actually are drinking beer at the same time. I was really holding off on that because
It's the nerdy influence.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Ridiculous.
When our episodes start running an hour and a half long, that's what I'm just going to start leading into this.
just have a beer,
drink
like.
through it. But instead, I'm going to talk about Aliens.
Okay.
Aliens is, I think,
For the one person listening who hasn't seen it.
yeah, it's about space rape and the embodiment of that,
Okay.
which is a big black alien.
Yeah.
And I watched it recently in we went to see a live orchestra playing along with it.
Yep.
I saw that.
And it was really, really savage.
Yeah, it was great.
And there was a little bit at the start where James Cameron was talking about it, and he was saying that the first Alien movie was a haunted house, but the second one was a roller coaster. It was always moving forward. You couldn't stop.
Just to stop you for a second, did you see a guy walking in late to that like an absolute asshole?
Was that you?
Yeah.
No, I don't give a fuck about the people who walked in late. It's the people who left early.
Oh, fuck that!
Because like the credits were rolling and people were getting up, and I was like, they're playing out the credits, the orchestra. Like we have to wait for them to take a
This is
bow.
their
and
big
shit.
moment,
Yeah, this
like,
is when
yeah.
they finally get to do shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I was at the very front, so I didn't see anybody leave.
I don't know if it's just people who are like, when that happens, they're just so used to, okay, film's over.
Yeah,
It's not a
exactly.
Marvel film, so I can get up and leave early.
Exactly.
So,
But I'll give a shout out to the Addams Family as well. I really, really like the Addams Family.
yeah.
And I think
When you actually think back on who's in that, like
Christina Ricci.
Christina Ricci, Raul Julia,
Yeah.
before he went on to the career-defining M. Bison. And
Gee, how can you get 2 Oscars for Best Actor? Like, it's amazing.
it's
He gave him 2!
just 2. Best acting,
One
best
wasn't
supporting
the-
actor. He's holding himself up, like, you know.
He wasn't even... Yeah, the man, he got Best Actor.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Yes.
Like, people just forget that he was Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
And he did it so well.
In that not quite a fat suit, but more of a wide suit.
Yeah,
Like it's just this weird shape.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And just the facial expressions, and
But
Angelica Houston.
yes,
Olivia Houston.
Olivia Newton, Angelica
Newton
Houston.
Houston.
but I don't know what kind of a movie that is. Addams Family. It is just an ensemble movie because
Yeah. What about you, Hannah? What's your film?
Sneakers from 1992.
Good shout.
It was the first time I went, oh my god, I'm really young and now I know what an ensemble cast is. 'Cause it was the first time I went, oh look, there's like a gang of guys and they're all guys and they're cool and
There's no one clear leader. I know it was kind of Robert Redford, but not.
Yeah, it was. Don
So-
Aykroyd, River Phoenix and Mr. Sidney Poitier.
Mr. Sidney.
I have not seen Sneakers.
Have you not?
Is it a
really
heist
good.
movie or
It's
something?
really good. Kind of, but more like maybe like Ocean's 11 meets MacGyver.
It was.
I should have said Ocean's 11. That's the ultimate one.
It was
It's
a
the
tech.
last
It
one.
was a tech heist back in the day,
Tech
where
heist,
tech
yeah.
was just starting to come out.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff, and you're like, wow, that's old. But but at the same time, you can recognize that at the time they were trying to stick fairly close to what tech was while not alienating the audience.
Right.
It was a decent attempt compared to some of the shit that was pumped out in
Yeah,
the early 90s,
yeah.
like the Net. God, do you remember that?
The
piece
Net
of
was amazing.
shit
The
film.
Net had a scene in it where a doctor who had medically examined a woman forgot who she was because she'd been deleted from the internet.
Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, but like, and none of it was the internet. She was never using the internet. She was just using Visual Basic the whole time.
Yes.
It was something somebody had built in Visual Basic and running on their Windows 3.11 machine. Like people don't think of Mission Impossible as being that old.
God, yeah, right, yeah.
Do you remember the very first Fast and the Furious movie? What they were stealing were DVD players.
Yes.
And that, like, when you say that to people, like, that can't be true.
It's
that was
it's
the
a
cool-
hell it's a hell of a
Hell of a ride.
hell of a film. But I will not have a bad word spoken about Fast and the Furious. You know my feelings on that. So.
What were they stealing in the last one? Nukes or something?
Oh, I don't know.
It's invariably
Ghosts.
they're going to end up in space.
Yes,
They have to.
It will be.
There's nowhere left for them to go. They're constantly atop the previous. They're going to end up in space.
It's gone very Saints Row. They're in the White House now.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care about that though.
Oh, no.
I prefer Saints Row to GTA because it's like
So do I.
if you have that.
Not the last one. But
If you have a sandbox or if you had this kind of ridiculous world, just keep going bigger.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what's the crack with not having jetpacks in GTA? Yeah, come on, come on.
Took them how long to get a jet bike in? Is that maybe Fast and Furious like the bastard descendant child of like unwanted child who lives under the stairs of sneakers?
Yeah,
That's the legacy you can trace it down through. Like.
unlike Castaway, the worst ensemble cast movie of all time.
He's the volleyball and
Winston and him.
Tom Hanks. No chemistry, no.
No.
Nah.
All right. Oh, you could say as well. What's that other movie with Tom Hardy where he's just driving to Wales? It's actually an amazing film.
Yeah, I can't remember.
What's the name of it? It's brilliant.
I can't know it, but that's
Tom
Tom
Hardy in
Hardy.
the car with a dash cam.
That's the thing. It's like the Tom Hardy in that cannot. It's not just called Driver or something, is it? Driver.
Drive is the.
Is it no? But is it
Ryan
Driver?
Gosling one.
Yeah, but there's like 3 films called Crash.
Yeah.
Is it Driver?
I can wank all of them. The moral of the story is.
But yeah, like that film where it's just him, and like if you get the right actor, it's one thing that, like, why I'll always credit Ryan Reynolds as being a really good actor is if you see Buried, where it's him in a coffin on his own for most of the film. You're like, it's brilliant. He holds your attention. It's a really good film, and it just kind of shows that it's like, yes, he can act.
And
it's not
Adrian
just-
Brody when he was trapped upside down in his car. That movie. It's also
Village.
no, the piano. Yeah.
And what's the
Anyway,
name as
we're
well?
doing the opposite of the podcast.
Yeah, sorry. But what's the name of it as well?
I love the rising star of Colin Farrell when he was in Phone Booth, and everyone was like, "Oh, look at this kid, he can act." And then like afterwards did SWAT or something. Everyone was like, "Oh, wow, hitched my wagon to the wrong."
Yeah.
Actually, there's a good ensemble one that he was in was 2 of them. In Bruges
In Bruges is great.
has some.
7 Psychopaths as well.
I wasn't even thinking 7 Psychopaths.
That's
7 Psychopaths is great.
bigger ensemble.
I was
cast.
actually going to say SWAT.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we can let him away with it. Everyone had their problems. It's like Ben Affleck. Yeah, sure, you did Giggly, but then you went and directed Gone Baby Gone and stuff in the town. We'll let you away with it. Like,
It wasn't bad in the sex tape, but oh, that was just great.
yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No, don't.
He was being interviewed. I don't know if you say he was being interviewed at one point, and what's her name was there? Sharon Osbourne. It was like some panel show, and she's like, someone mentions the sex tape. He's like, yeah, and she's like, I love that. It was. I very much appreciate that sex tape. And he's like, right. And then somebody mentioned something else about him, like something embarrassing about him. He's like, can we start talking about the sex tape again? This is much worse. Like, well, at least he's got a sense of humor.
Bullseye, obviously, was it?
Probably.
Let's not talk about Daredevil.
Great stuff.
It's games. We've done films. That's everyone's film.
Yep.
Games.
I suppose GTA had 3 great leads. Is that an ensemble cast?
Yeah.
GTA.
GTA is actually a really good example because you play through. You're not. There's not one character.
You switch between them, yeah.
And the dog.
Did you ever play Commandos?
Oh yeah, with Jack the Butcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it was a very Blues Brother kind of feeling of you going through and putting the band back together, so you had to go and rescue your various
Oh, that was
commandos.
great. And then you would have him for the next
Yeah.
mission.
And then the Irish accent that was like, "I'm coming over."
Yeah.
And it was the most grating thing. You're sitting there going,
Yeah, it was
I feel like
great.
I'm being racist against me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not cool. I haven't had that since Far Away with Tom Bleep Green.
Tom Cruise. Yeah. So, yeah. Far and Away was a bad example. Yeah.
He punched a horse in the face.
We weren't even filming. I just looked at me
Not
funny.
even the worst thing he did.
Doesn't like people being taller than him. On screen, it has to be the same height as the horse. That's not how this works. Same height as the horse. Okay then.
Bring in one of those malnutrition baby horses.
What'd your games be? I can see one of them there on the couch beside you.
Yeah, I want to find any excuse to talk about this game, so I'm going to use Ensemble Cast as an excuse to talk about it. The game I have chosen is Clive Barker's Jericho, and the team are a pyromancer, a reality hacker, that's somebody who pulls out her laptop and starts typing and reality changes.
Of course.
You got your blood mage, who is like the dark goth girl, and she cuts herself, and from the blood that lands on the ground, briars spring up and all this kind of bullshit. There's a telekinetic who is just like a voodoo motherfucker. And
So how is that different from a reality hacker?
yes,
I'm invested.
Yeah.
You have to explain this to me. Like.
and then the last was just an exorcist. Like they just, but every single one of them looks like they knew they were going to a Matrix party, so they all knew they had to wear black leather, but they all got something slightly wrong. So it is like one of the cast from Hackers, one of the like girl from The Crow, somebody from something else.
Is this like the bit from Super Troopers where they show up at the restaurant and she's all in leathers and he's wearing spandex. He's like, bikers,
Bikers,
right?
yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
It is 100% that, and it's just every bit of the story. It just felt like Clive Barker was getting so fucking excited. He's, can I have this and this? And you're like, sure, Clive, whatever you want. And then what if his arm is a gun? He's like, that's absolutely fine. But forget about him. Let's do the Exorcist guy now. And he fires ghosts at people. Aren't you a ghost? Doesn't matter.
I don't know. It's like the actual one for like my favorite cast and ensemble cast type thing in a game is Broforce. From 2015.
It works really well.
Yes.
The fact that you can apply bro to so many of the characters, and I have just some of my favourites here. Rambro,
Yeah.
Bro Mando, B.A. Bro Rackus, Bro Hard, Braid, Bro Dread, Brobocop, Indiana Brones, the Boondock Bros, Bro Shetty, Bronan the Brobarian, Ellen Ripbro, Broniversal Soldier, Bro Max, Double Bro 7, which is probably the best of a lot of them, Bro Heart, the Brolander, and Bro Lee. And if you've never played it, it's a side-scrolling game of chaos.
Yes.
It's the only real way you can explain it. It's just absolute chaos and anarchy, and so enjoyable to play, and so many nods to so many films. Like, I listed off, like 10 or 15 there? There's like 30 or 40 characters in it. There's the Bro Spendables are in it, and all the members of the Expendables are there in some form.
Yeah.
And it's
What was
just...
the Men in Black guy?
It's Bro and Black, yeah.
Bro and Black,
Bro
right.
and Black. It's and he has the noisy cricket from the first Men in Black film, and it's just such a well done thing.
It's actually a really good game. It's hard.
It is. It's difficult, and it's fun, and it's one of those games that's just such a simple idea, and you're like, this could be either really stupid or really well done.
Yeah.
And it was just really well done.
Yeah.
He's much more like, can he be president? He's not really president. Doesn't matter. Can he be president? And it's like,
As if they were to put someone from TV on as a president, though.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
yeah. You make that joke now, but what's his name was Reagan was an actor.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So like he was doing like black and white cowboy films and everything like decades before he was a thing. Like people always forget that you made an actor the president and look what happens. Like yeah, they did it before. So like it's not the first time.
Nothing bad's ever coming out of the Reagan era.
No, nothing ever. But no, that'll be my one. Is The West Wing.
I really like the show Veep, and I really like the fact that they never show the president. Like
Yeah.
for the
I wonder if somebody actually read the synopsis and how it was meant to be that they never show the president in The West Wing. They're like, we could have a go at that, right?
yeah.
Could we don't actually hire a president? Let's just not cast it. Yeah. It's like,
Here's the confession. I had never heard the term POTUS before, and it didn't click, so I just presumed it was President POTUS.
His name was President POTUS. For President of the United States. The POTUS is coming. The POTUS is coming.
Then it's like, hang on a minute. They've already... Now there's someone else. Oh, it's President of the United... Oh, God.
they even make that joke in the first episode of The West Wing. There's a point where Rob Lowe's character sleeps with a hooker accidentally, who's actually Lisa Edelstein, who's Dr. Cuddy from House.
We've all been there.
No, but she's Dr. Cuddy from House,
Eddie Murphy.
the same actress, like. And he's like, he goes, his pager goes off, and she's like, oh, you're in the shower, the pager went off. It was a message, POTUS in a bike accident. He's like, I gotta go, and she's like, it's Saturday and it's 6:30. He goes, yeah, I gotta go. And she's like, tell your friend POTUS he's got a weird name. And he's like, it's not my friend, he's my boss. And it's not his name, it's his title. It's President of the United States. I'll see you later. And he just walks out like.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that because they've framed it, because I reckon a lot of people wouldn't necessarily frame the term. So they use it in such a way of like.
Like I was at the end of Veep before I copped it. Well, season 1, end of season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I love that show because everything is reacting to something unseen, which is presumably what politics is actually like. Like you don't cause stuff, you react.
Yeah.
Which is a very negative view of it, but it is my view of it. My mum does that all the time. If you open a DVD box set and there's 6 discs, she'll just pick any one of them and stick it on. And she's like, doesn't matter. I was like, it does matter. You're watching Bones. There's a serial killer on the loose. You don't need to know who he is yet. She's like, one of these will show me. It'll be fine.
that would infuriate me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I couldn't do that.
She'll be watching like Big Bang Theory and like the characters' haircuts will change and stuff like that. And she's like, why is she doing that? I was like, because you're not watching them in any sort of order.
Yeah, but that's Big Bang Theory. It's not like there's a story or content in them.
I'm pretty sure she watches that because she thinks that's what I do. She's like, you do nerd things. I'm like, I guess. Thanks. It's useful. I'm going to change my film. After you mentioned Eddie Murphy there, I'm going to change mine to The Nutty Professor, and the ensemble cast is all the Eddie Murphys. All the Eddie Murphys in The Nutty
Like
Professor.
the antithesis to Castaway, actually.
I'll only act opposite me.
That's because no one else wanted to do that. What would be your TV series, Hannah?
For the ensemble casting, I was thinking that I should do a sitcom just because that's the kind of classic TV
It is, yeah.
style of it. Never really watched Seinfeld, and I didn't want to pick Friends, and I never watched How I Met Your Mother, so I picked Coupling.
Okay.
And one of my like the lads sitting chatting or having the most stupid conversations, but they kind of realise it. And it was just reveling in the stupidest shit. I think one of my favourite ones is like, I'm writing a sci-fi movie and it's about a woman who's got a brain in each breast, and it's called The Woman with Two Brains. It'd be 3 brains, Patrick. What? Because she'd have 3 brains then. I suppose you're right.
I find Friends to be the most solid one the whole way through as an ensemble cast, but I don't want to mention it because I'm not going to mention Friends.
Yeah.
But it is really solid, and it's done so well.
When you were saying actually that you couldn't talk about wanking on something like Friends, there's an amazing clip from the last season, blooper reel,
Right.
where it's the bit where Chandler and Monica are telling everyone that they're giving up the apartment, they're going to move out, and everyone's like, no, but this is your apartment, this is our thing, like, and like, you know, Ross is kind of sitting there looking all downcast, and he's like, sometimes when I'm over on my own in my apartment, I look over here and Chandler's here and he's just gone to town on himself. The whole cast is it's just like that's fucking phenomenal. Like he just drops that in. Like
I heard a great description of Friends, which was it sent someone, and they're like, "Yeah, it's an alright show." I mean, I've seen every episode twice, obviously. Everyone's like, yeah, it's a good show. It's not the best show ever. I've seen everything though. I've seen.
But it was such a permeating part of culture growing up. Like I remember, like that and Father Ted were the 2 kind of shows that defined secondary school for me, because it used to be the ones that people would talk about the next day in school.
And then Hannibal started, and like I remember like just sticking one on, cooking up something, about to take a forkful of food, and just seeing something on the screen, pushing my food away. Like, no, I could watch any other procedure. I could watch people stripping flesh from bones and.
Do you know what?
Bones.
It's the one show that I thought would actually affect me like that. And all fat jokes aside, it doesn't bother me. Like when I see it, because I think it's that whole thing of I studied how they do special effects. So when I look at it, I'm just looking at like, oh, and I know how they did that by using blah, and you know what I mean. It doesn't bother me. Like
I get such mixed results from people when he puts food on the table. Half the people I know is like, oh, it looks so delicious and rich, and other people go, it looks dead and sad.
Yeah, and it's a very kind of bleached colour palette.
Yeah, they make it. He puts down a Renaissance painting every time. It's like this very stylized version of food.
The birds that were drowned in wine.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Party wants to eat that.
Yeah, we got it.
But also you're
I love birds drowned in wine.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Cool. Helmut, what was your TV ensemble?
I suppose Twin Peaks is too compartmentalised to be an ensemble cast.
Is it?
Not really. It does jump around in a way.
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realise I was coming into the Black Lodge when we were doing the podcast. I was like, there's a log. Because you know what it is? You know when you see something and you think, oh, it's Twin Peaks. No, it's not. It's just a log.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, no. Who would have a log cushion if it's not the Twin Peaks?
No.
That's like everything else was like.
If you're in Johnny's house, you can assume it's Twin Peaks. Yeah. Twin Peaks or Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not ensemble, we can definitely say supporting cast. The supporting cast is nothing like has been on TV.
Yeah, the casting in it was magnificent.
Yeah.
Saying that thing of like people wanting to work with them and wanting to be in the show. Watching the new series, Michael Cera shows up at one point.
Yeah.
And just does this rebel without a cause character.
So awkward.
No reason to be in it.
No.
Like I have to believe that David Lynch just thought it was funny. He was like,
yeah.
Like, I'll do anything. You'll do anything. All right.
But I also wonder is if it's him doing if it's David Lynch being like. He's contacting people that have new actors have come on the scene since he did the last season. Yeah, he's like, "Can you
from his films?
They're
practically all from his films since Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So you've got Naomi Watts, Laura Dern. You've got
Heather Graham shows up at one point.
Yeah. I don't think Tim Roth was, but I'm so happy he's in it. I think you're right. I think that's what I think. Definitely Lynch gets that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think he probably didn't even have to contact Nine Inch Nails to be in that episode.
No.
I'm almost like...
Oh, yeah.
I'd say...
I automatically assume that inside of David Lynch's head is just the Nine Inch Nails sound.
Yeah. Well, they work together on Lost Highway, so...
Yeah.
But I would imagine... Well, maybe he did. He's not like God.
Well,
like, the people will... He has to contact
No, but I'm
people.
sure if he... I mean...
He would have to contact Naomi
Perfect
Watts.
Drug was written for Lost Highway, was it? Or... it doesn't really work in books. In books, I like it where there's a writer that I read a lot of and I love is Dan Abnett. Phenomenal writer. Has a really good method of going like top of page 100. Here's a brand new character.
Yeah.
And it's a war novel or something going on. Here's a brand new character. One paragraph in, you know everything about their character. You know that he's married and he has 2 kids and he has served in the military for 20 years and it's been a quiet life, but then only something recently's gone wrong. And then a paragraph later, you know all about the character's tics and what pisses them off and what they're trying to achieve. And a paragraph later, they're dead, and it's not even the bottom of page 100, and you're gutted.
Yeah,
It just has this really good way of doing it, but it doesn't translate well outside of books. I think in film, it's better or on TV to introduce a character and just leave a little few drops in there, like. I wonder what they're like, because you don't have that whole kind of someone standing there at the side of the screen going, meet this guy, this is what this guy's about. It's more
you can kind of show and don't tell, and like the guy has 2 different colour lenses in his glasses, he's like, I bet he's a character.
I think if you're talking about Twin Peaks, it could be a doppelganger.
Could be a doppelganger, yes.
Or it could be a tulpa instead of a doppelganger, which you're just splitting them up again. It's absolutely insane how they can do that. And that's why you get Colin McLaughlin is a supporting character in that.
Kind of
is.
And he's amazing in it because there's no well, I don't give away too much.
But I think that's a better approach in TV and I think that's why
I wonder was that how they got Colin McLaughlin. They said you don't have to play just Cooper straight off although they wouldn't have written.
The interviews coming up to it, he was saying that he really enjoyed playing Cooper, and he like everybody looked like they were enjoying, like they talked so fondly about their time of working with on Twin Peaks and working with David Lynch. And he loves the character. He was saying, I love playing Cooper because it's someone who's very powerful in terms of his job, but also the kind of person he is. He never has to demonstrate it. He never pulls rank. He never like strong arms someone. It's just such a nice character, this strange, understated character. And I was like, man, he fucking knows that character so well. Like he can't wait to play him again.
Apparently, when they were doing the Jose Chung's From Outer Space episode of the X-Files, which is a big nod to Twin Peaks, there's like the whole references with the. He walked in and he ordered a slice of sweet potato pie and he'd order a coffee and a sweet potato pie.
Yeah, I like that they put an add to it because it's definitely, you can tell.
But even then, like apparently David Duchovny was really reluctant to do it until he read the script, and then he was like, "Oh, this actually kind of captures it pretty well." But then he apparently contacted Colin McLaughlin and was like, "Before I do this, this is basically your character. This is Mulder via Cooper.
Yeah.
Is this like? Are you okay with it?" And he was allowed to look at the script before they shot it, and they were like, "Yeah, no, go for it."
Cool.
So they're like, I like that if you're gonna do a nod to it, they're at least like even the actors themselves are not like we're kind of reverential about it. Like,
well, they do the dream episode of Buffy. Is it called Revelations or something? And it is just like there's a bit where I'm like, I wonder if they're doing a nod to Twin Peaks, and it's just red curtains and a chevron floor, and I'm like, I wonder no more. That's very direct. Thank you. That's useful.
The only downside to Twin Peaks going for another season is that like the Simpsons are going to feel obligated to do enough more episodes to cover the new season.
All right.
Yeah.
What's Aaron? Is there homework for this episode?
Homework is I'm going to watch Sneakers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change my name to POTUS McPotusface.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.